Talking biscuit boy, proud. Static crackles like a rattlesnake's tail. Voices rolling like a freight train wheel. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, talking live love and southern joy. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, raise your glass, make some noise. Gravy drips in the southern drawl. Stories thick like the cypress tall. Radio rebels riding wild and free, shouting truths like a storm at sea. Hey, hey, can you feel that beat? Boots on the floor, fire in the heat. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, talking live love and southern joy. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, raise your glass, make some noise. Tells the dirt roads, whiskey skies that cut through the night like fireflies. Laughter echoes through the pines, two voices cross them county lines.
It's Saturday.
Peace.
Biscuit boy in the house.
Cornbread man in the house. Oh,
And all of you fine folks in the house. Broski Bear in the house.
I hope everybody had a wonderful week. Broski Bear.
He's on his probably normal Saturday drive or something.
Well,
Out seeing what he can get into. Happy Saturday, and hope you're having a good one so far. Beautiful weather these days, Paul.
yeah,
cool,
it is.
cool temperatures in the mornings. Very nice. I love it.
It's supposed to be in the 90s next week.
You know,
Close to it.
yeah, we'll start hitting that. Well, you get your April showers. April showers will be coming.
They bring May flowers. That's what they say anyway. Who are they?
Who?
Yeah, who are they?
Who are they? I don't know. They is they.
Working from home.
Crazy time of the year, he says, for him.
I can understand that.
Well, it's crazy. Crazy for you.
The
Loving you.
dancing banana. Sounds interesting.
But it is April the 11th, 8:35 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That it is.
And it was a pretty good Friday, you know. The astronauts splashed back down, you know.
Right.
They seemed like all was well. You know, they call it the 6 minutes blackout. They talk about when there's no communication when they start entering the atmosphere.
Yeah.
The 6 minutes, there's no communication either way. It's just nobody knows until they emerge from that if they're alive, if they're okay or
They're
not.
burning up or not.
There's no way to know. They could be blown up, and they wouldn't know about it. So
what part of the flat Earth did they land on? I'm wondering.
probably some out there,
Close to Tartaria,
Siberia, somewhere, They have a special studio out there that they fly back down
and they film all this stuff. Yeah.
Have some vodka.
Close.
Welcome home, comrades.
Yeah. Hasta Vidania. That means goodbye, doesn't it?
Well, they're going to land on the moon, Brusky. That's the next step to establish the moon complex. They're going up with the Holiday Inn Express, dude. So you not only can do it here, you can do it there. You can be smarter than the average bear.
And
Staying in the Holiday Inn Express on the moon, that would be high dollar.
There you go.
I mean, pull the spacecraft up. The valet comes out, parks it for you, get your luggage.
You can't beat that.
Kick around a little space dust.
Would you like some coffee?
I would love some coffee, some Wolf Nation coffee.
I got us some Wolf Nation whiskey barrel coffee.
The whiskey barrel. Just pour it in that one. Another. You make a fine waiter, sir.
Thank you. Got a lot of experience.
We're going to talk about your experience.
Something that I never
Okay,
ever.
Yeah, that's right. Just a drive-by. They went further than man has ever went, at least as astronauts. So they went 4,000 kilometers further past the moon, and they saw areas of the moon they have not seen before.
Yeah.
The images are amazing.
No, they saw images that we've never seen before.
Paula's not even 5 minutes in. He's already jumping out of his seat.
Yeah.
Wait,
You know how I am, broski.
Paul's an on-the-move kind of guy. He can't
sit still.
He can't.
It's hard for me to.
So I saw this. There's been a news article out there. It goes back a few months, not that long, and actually I saw the update to it today.
Right.
And there was, I could be wrong on the state, but I think it was Florida.
Okay.
And there was a story about a nurse who had treated over 4,400 patients. She was due for a promotion.
Yeah.
But to do that, they, they're putting all this stuff in. I mean, that's what a good job she did. We'll get a promotion. Her nursing license red flagged.
Really?
She was using someone else's nursing license. She never went to nursing school.
But yet she's one of the best nurses the hospital had.
That they had. And they just now, she's not going to go to jail. They're going to give her 5 years of probation, I think, a fine.
They're going to send her to nursing school?
Well, that would be my next question.
Yeah.
If she's that doggone good, why don't destroy her life? She made a mistake. Yes, it was dangerous. She got because of illegalities and all that. But somebody help this girl get official and get licensed up, because if she's that good at treating patients, I want her.
Well, I'm just curious. Why didn't she go to nursing school?
Some people just for whatever reason, man, they just jump in both feet. It reminds me of a story. When I was in junior high school, my math teacher, she was very elderly, and we were ruffians. I want to tell you, but she told a great story. She said her grandson, and this is back before the days of really internet taking hold or anything.
Right.
So it was around, but it was more academia and stuff that had,
it was military
and all that. So anyway, she said that her grandson wanted to do this job, and he didn't want to wait. He wanted to jump right in. And so he got all the books that he could get on this particular field. I don't remember what it was. And he studied everything he could about it. He went and applied for the job, and he did so well in the interview, he got the job. And he walked in kind of just sort of knowing how to do it. You still get trained somewhat, right. But he knew all the terminologies of whatever field he was in. He knew the concepts. And he got the job. And he never went to any school. He never had any experience to do the job. And he went in as a full grade starting, whatever it was.
Just goes to show. You don't necessarily have to have school.
To me, it shows ingenuity. I mean, you know, and I get, to me, if you're that good, you just give them the test.
Yeah.
If you can pass the test, then maybe you do a little clinicals, like with a nurse, you do some clinicals and make sure they can actually do the job, you know, and cover the thing. You know, mic's blocked for me, but wouldn't worry with my big mouth. But I was just wondering what do you think? And here was my question this morning.
All right.
Are there jobs that you think you could walk right into right now, but you've never been trained, you've never been to school, that you believe you could do at least enough that you wouldn't fall flat on your face, that are fairly high level jobs? Is there something out there do you think you could do and just walk in and basically fool everybody? I mean, to the point that you could talk your way through and figure it out as you went along.
Just about anything.
I mean, because some people just
except
have
for
that
brain
ability.
surgeon. I mean, you know, I don't think I could do that. Or any kind of surgeon. I don't know. There's some things I know quite a bit about the human anatomy. I mean, you learn things, you know. But you know, when I was in junior high school, I took the junior bar exam and passed it with flying colors. Didn't know hardly anything, but I have an adaptation, I guess, where I understand things right off the bat.
I got you. So you think you could walk in and let's say, like, if you probably could on this. I'm just going to throw a few at you. Like,
Okay.
You could open a gun store right now and be fairly confident about everything you need to do to run a gun store.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't think I would have any problems. I mean, what I don't know, I can learn pretty quick.
Jack of all and a master of none. Yeah, Dustin. But you know, there are people that can wing it like that, man.
Yeah.
Now, man, like the gun store, you might have to get up to date on the paperwork, like federal. It's mostly digital, probably, but you know, but you can get that. You can figure that out. There's helps you can get to do that.
You can Google anything.
Well, today with Google, you know, YouTube videos, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, you can. There's people that work on their car now because there's people doing it step by step and showing them how to do it, and they're like, it's a DIY, you know, and or
Right.
DIY,
DIY
and
or DIY.
not DUI, but
Do it yourself.
yeah, I was trying to think, but just do it.
DIY. Yeah.
Just do it. Just go and wing the job. But it reminds me of, I've heard of this before. People that just stepped into a job, and somebody said they never realized till later they were never licensed. It reminds me of that MASH episode where the guy is the surgeon and Hawkeye catches him, and he said, "Why didn't you go to school?" He said, "I just don't will take time for it." He said, and he named all the jobs he was able to do, and he was good at it. And he said, "You know, go to medical school, and then call me to get out because you're dang good, and we need you."
I've got one that for instance, a few years ago, well, it's been quite a few years ago, well, not that many, but I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life, this, that, and the other. I'd been in construction, enjoyed it. You know, I like building things with my hands, but there was a job opening for maintenance director for Life Care Centers of America. I went and applied for it. Blew everybody else out of the water.
Cool.
I didn't know anything about maintenance. Didn't know the first thing about maintenance, but I had common sense. I knew certain things, you know, building maintenance I could take care of. I just had to learn a few other things. But I did have management experience, and I had some other people, you know, that helped me out tremendously.
Sure.
You know, during that.
Well, that would be the thing. You'd want to buddy up with somebody who could. If somebody said, "Hey, that's not why you do that," you went, "Oh, I forgot. What do you do here now?" And just do it. You know.
You know.
Yes, it does. It does go a long way. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one. It does go a long way. Common sense. I could just see you hanging off of the copter, firing the gun at those terrorists as they approach the fallen pilot. I could just see you doing that with the hat on backwards and just lighting them up. And never have been there, but say, "Well, I did stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night."
Exactly, I did stay there.
Common sense and problem solving. Exactly. I met a guy one time, and I did a class with him, and he said, "This is his statement." He said, "I could run any business out there if I have two things. One is great people surrounding me, and the ability to trust what they're telling me, to trust to let them do their work."
Yeah.
He said, "I could run any company in America." That goes a long way, and that's true too. There may be some things, maybe you can run into something, but I do get that. If you're surrounded by great people who know it inside and out, you're just managing people. You're managing a process. That's all you're doing.
Exactly. Trust the process.
You got to know if somebody's snowing you or their lives. You got to have a big BS detector going on.
I can usually look somebody in the eye and tell.
Yeah, but I just think that there are some people that are so confident in their ability, and they just bold. They go for it, and they're really good at. And I like the word you use, problem solving, broski, because you're going to run into things you've never approached or seen before, and you got to work through that on the fly. And you imagine her being a nurse. She's not licensed, dude. Think about it. She goes in. What amazes me about this? Where did she get her IV practice out? How did she ever learn to put an IV in? There had to be some test dummy that she put an IV in their arm, dude, and never had training.
Probably did it to herself.
Who knows? I mean, that is a hard thing. There are a lot of people that crap out because they can't put the IV in the arm.
Do you think you could start an IV on yourself?
Oh man, if it was life and death, I could. But just if I had to, I could. But it would be like it'd be like I was out in the field of battle or something, and it's that or die. Yeah, I would do that. I mean, I've watched it enough, and I kind of get it,
Right.
And I've watched idiots that are licensed who can't do it very well.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that. I've seen them have to go get somebody else and say,
I've seen phlebotomists that couldn't get a vein on my arm.
Exactly. And I would think that'd be pretty easy on your arms. I mean, you got some
now
veins.
I went through a time, especially when I was overweight.
Yeah.
You couldn't see a vein in my arm. I mean, they weren't there. But, from working out and eating right, taking the right vitamins and minerals, things of that nature, I've got veins everywhere now.
I just find it truly amazing. There are just some people they're able to just go in any direction and they kind of land on their feet. And
Dustin, I'm with you there, dude. I hate needles, but I give myself injections just about every day.
But not heroin or nothing.
No. Not along those lines.
We might want to clarify.
Nothing along those lines.
No,
things like B12.
Yeah.
Okay. Peptides, things like that.
Okay. The little silence right after that, I thought we might need a disclaimer.
Might need to clarify on that one. You don't have the needle and the spoon out there, do you? So,
but I was just thinking, in her case, that this is someone you say, okay, you screwed up here, but you put us at liability. We've got to do something with you, but don't destroy her life.
No,
she didn't hurt anybody. She was getting promoted. She was well liked, and try to just redirect and make do the the advanced course or something.
Listen, the only thing I think she's guilty of is, she's guilty of some.
She's not licensed to do the job. That's one thing.
Well, she's guilty of some deception. I mean, obviously, but she's just overzealous. I mean, she wanted to work that bad, and she knew that she'd be good at doing the job, and she was, obviously. I mean, they were promoting her.
Yeah, I think you bring her in and train her, put her back, put her
probably
to work,
the best employee you ever had,
and put her in a training program. She's already proved she can do the job.
Yeah.
Now you're just getting it official.
Yeah. But in order to do that, in order to be
an expedited
registered nurse, you have to go through school.
But there is an expedited course that you can go through for some of that. And there's such a shortage of nurses in the country. Man, I'm going to tell you what, out in places like, I guarantee you in Alaska, out west, up in the Northwest, there's places where I know some people that's done that. They're nurses from Alabama.
Mhm.
They live in Alabama.
Travel nurses.
Well, they have moved to a place that I think they had to commit to 2 years. They're going to stay about 3 or 4. They're going to come back. They're making so much money, dude. They're going to come back and buy their house and farm. They're going to pay for it in cash.
Oh yeah.
They're making that kind of money. But even you're low like around here, a travel nurse can make $75 an hour. You go out,
Easy.
you go to some places, you're talking $150 an hour, maybe more. That's how neat it is for nurses right now. Somebody will call this woman up, and I hope they do, and say, "Hey, if you're willing to relocate, we got a job for you. But we got to get all this straightened out. You got to make it legal and all that." But I just was thinking about that this morning. I was thinking there's just some people, they roll out of bed in the morning and they can do about anything if they really put their mind to it. Because they're students of everything they do. They pick up things very quickly, and they're such a high caliber, high IQ kind of person. They just know what they're doing without even really knowing what they're doing. I mean, it's crazy.
Right.
But there are some people can watch you do something and then do it perfectly. I mean, it's a skill. It's a gift. It's not even a skill. It's a gift. And
I've always been
that
blessed. I've been blessed to pick things up really quickly. I don't know if you'd call it IQ or not. I have had 3 IQ tests, and I scored off the charts on the test. But I mean, they're tests.
Yeah.
How do you really tell? How smart somebody is just by having them look at a few rectangles, different things. But there is, there's a science to it. There's a science to these tests, apparently. But yeah, I averaged about 158, somewhere around in there. I think my lowest was in the high 140s, and my highest was in the upper 160s. Somewhere around
This
there.
happens all the time. We had a guy come to work at our company once, and this story is crazy to me. It ended up being a freak job, but the guy was good enough to kind of talk his way through. We'll say that he came to work at the company, and he came in as a regular employee, and he said, I talked to someone, and I was not supposed to be brought in as an employee.
Mm.
I was supposed to be a supervisor, manager, or something. And I'm thinking about I don't know how he got that through, but he named off a couple names or whatever. And he dressed real professionally when he came in. He didn't dress like some guy walking in jeans and a t-shirt. He came in dressed like in office clothes almost. Right. And he looked the part. And he had college. I don't think he finished. He said he did. I don't believe he did. And he came in, and he was a college football player, and he was pretty good. So he had some pedigree there, but he didn't finish. And he actually played, Paul. He played for UTC here in town, or Chattanooga, and he also played for the University of Tennessee at Knoxville. He played for UT Knoxville first. He got injured and ended up having to Philip Fulmer actually helped him get into UTC.
Okay.
He played 2 years, I think, for the Vols. He played 1 year for UTC. I never saw where he graduated. So anyway, he comes to work. He says, "I'm an executive, or I'm in the executive program or whatever." And he was a person of color. And somehow or another, he got pulled out of that job, and he got put straight into like a process engineer job. And he was, he did that job for months. Well, a couple things popped up, because you say things, and one thing is that people are quick to pick up on things. And I knew a guy. He was from Bosnia. He came in through. They came out when the war was going on, and he's up through the company. He's in management now, but he had went through a program that we have at our company that kind of gets you going up that way towards management, things like that. Well, this guy had went through it as well because he was new, and then. Well, anyway, they were telling about themselves. It's really quick because he came to me about this. Right. He said, "Dave, it sticks in my gut, and I can't get away from it." He said when this guy showed his bio, he didn't put that he was a graduate of college. He said, I would think if you had graduated college, you would have wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Correct? I mean, that stands to reason.
Right.
I have a bachelor's or whatever it is with a 3-point whatever grade point average or whatever.
Yeah.
He said he didn't say that. He said, I asked him about it. And he goes, he said, I don't like to self-promote myself. So he was talking to me about it. Well, then that got me to thinking, like, okay, maybe I just wanted to prove the point. So I went back and verified his football because another guy said, hey, I'm a big Vols fan, and I remember this guy playing. He played for Tennessee, no doubt.
Right.
So I went and looked. He shows on the roster, and I found him on 3 rosters, two at UTK and 1 at UTC. But I never saw the 4th year. He said he got injured at Tennessee, but he said he got injured at UTC, so he wasn't there for the 4th year. He didn't play. He was medical out, or whatever.
Right.
But you'd still show on the roster, though. You'd just be showing. I don't think he graduated. I really don't. When it got down to it, I don't think he graduated. But this guy, oh my gosh, he got in so much trouble. He turned out to be a freak, man. He got caught stealing. He got caught standing in a girl's dorm naked at the university. He come into somebody's. He climbed up a back deck, come through a sliding glass door, and stole this lady's credit cards, and was caught on camera going to Walmart and buying gas and spending Walmart. He ended up going to prison. And here's the unique thing about it. Later on, in one of our plants in one of the outlying areas, we have a deal with a prison because there's a prison there. We opened up a business there so that they could get skills. We get workers and they get skills and all that. Right. He was the daggone foreman over the prisoners, dude. I mean, he was still like an executive, but as a prisoner. Crazy. The guy could roll. He could definitely roll with it, man, but he was a whack job. And I think he stole from us while at the plant. There was things missing and stuff. But it was amazing. It was funny to watch that. But
the thing that always got me in these particular companies, you can't have a supervisory role unless you have a college degree. Unless you have a little piece of paper saying your butt occupied a seat for 2 to 4 years.
Yeah, a lot of companies are doing that.
That's it. But the thing that got me is I helped train a lot of the supervisors that come in.
Yeah, and they say just go get a 2-year degree and that's all you need. And, it'll get you so far. It won't get you all the way up. At some point you have to have a master's and all that. But I got the bachelor's. Yeah, I could see that happening, Broski, because I would say that, again, if the money's there, people will move and they will relocate for the money. I mean, that's what those guys are doing, those South Dakota or North Dakota oil fields, whatever, it's North Dakota. Anyway, they're making buku of money. There's nothing out there, dude. It's brutal. But those guys, they're like living in little campers and stuff or whatever, and they're just saving up their money, man. They'll come back rolling with hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not a couple of million by the time they're done, depending on how long they can stand it.
Well, I hope they know what to do with their money.
Well, yeah, they need to know. And knowing that, they need to contact Paul LeBron Putnam, who can help them.
Be happy to
advise
help
them on their financial direction for their money. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Keep ascending, baby.
That's it. We're going through some transitional times right now, but all is well.
But that is to make it go further and better and all that.
So it's definitely better for our clients.
Sometimes you have to do that, Yeah. After a while, you grow so much. You have to. The birdie's got to grow. It's got to fly out of its nest on its own, and link up with other birdies.
Yeah.
Some people can only take you so far. Then you gotta have some movement, ability to do that. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. Now
that's very interesting.
I have another question I want to ask Biscuit Boy.
All right.
I'm not asking you this because you've practiced any kind of fighting skills or anything like that. I think most men, I'm not saying women don't, but most men, they think in their mind, what would I do? Because this is happening more and more across the world. Mm-hmm. And it has happened here, and it's going to happen more because we've allowed bad people, evil people in our country. Mm-hmm. Let's say you're walking down the road, or you're just, you're walking to your car, and we'll say 3 to 5. We'll start with 3. three. We'll even say they're illegals. I mean, we'll just go there because that's a very, very likely scenario. And they surround you to rob you. But they've got maybe a pipe in their hand, or maybe they got a knife. Maybe they don't even have a gun. How would you approach a situation like that if you all of a sudden were surrounded by three dudes who said, "You're giving up your wallet right now"? Would you give up the wallet? I don't think you would. But how would you approach in your mind? How do you approach that fight scene? Is there something? What measuring do you do to think who, what, when, where in that? Because you're quick-minded. You move very quick, and you go. You wouldn't wait to be hit. I know this. You would go into action.
No.
How would you assess that? And there's thousands of scenarios, but I think there's some critical keys to how you approach that. Because I think guys map this out. Like, what would I do? How would you approach that? We'll say three guys. They just surround you as you approach your car, and you're clicking the thing to unlock your door.
All right. So number one, the first thing I had to do: who's the biggest?
Who's the biggest?
All right. Who's the most heavily armed? All right. Who has the most intimidating weapon? Who has the weapon that can hurt me the most?
Yeah.
That's the first person I'm taking out.
Yeah. And
then I'm going to take his weapon.
Okay.
Now, in most situations, if there's, like you said, 3 to 5 people, you're going to have, a couple of guys that really want to fight. The other ones, they don't.
Exactly. That was my next point. All of them are not.
That's just been my experience.
Yeah. All of them are not. It reminds me of that scene in The Outlaw, Josie Wells, when the guy's standing there and he's holding the packages, and there's like 3 guys or something, and he drops the package and he pulls the gun, and he shoots this one guy, and then he shoots another guy, and then he, I think the other guy, the Indian, shot someone, whatever. And he said, I'm paraphrasing, but he said, how did you know who to shoot first? And basically that's what he said was, there was one guy standing there, he said, didn't want to draw his weapon. And he knew that.
Yeah.
So he took out the biggest threat first. He said, what about the guy on the right? And he goes, well, you had him.
Yeah, you were there.
You were there. So, I just think that you have to think about the threat, and you do have to look at that. Who, and I will say this, one time and this happened, dude. I was at the big box store. I just came on duty, and I saw these militant-looking dudes walking up with a big sign, putting it in front of the store. And I'm not there to engage them, but there was a moment where I thought I might be jumped because of the actions of 3 of them.
Right.
But they were standing in all black. They had even the beret on.
Were they
black.
Antifa?
No, they weren't Antifa. I think they were the those. I forget what you call them, but basically the Black Hebrew group. Their sign was it was a recruitment sign. But basically getting the man. Have you been put down? Have you been hurt? Have you been this? Let's get them. Yeah, the Black Hebrew Israelites, broski, absolutely. And they're standing there, and 3 of the guys are looking at me like, you're fixing to be down. Because here I am, an old white guy, and I'm walking up, and they look at me. I mean, they were even standing with their arms like at attention. And 3 of them were looking at me like, we'll crush you, dude. Like, get out of our face. That kind of look. Instantaneous rage was on their face.
Right.
My assessment was, because the other 2 guys, one was the leader, the speaker for the group, he steps out. So I realized he's automatically placed himself between me and those 3. And his guy that stepped behind him, he had to look like he didn't like what I was doing, but he was going to follow the leader. So I knew that if they were going to go into action, they had to go through the leader. So the leader it was almost without saying it's like, let me handle this. They didn't like it. They looked at me the whole time like they wanted to kill me.
Right.
But my assessment is this guy wants to talk. And so that gave me a chance to diffuse it. And the whole time, they looked at me like that. So, but in that moment, I really thought this might get real. Now, I did have an officer on scene, I think, at that time, inside the store.
Right.
But in 30 seconds or a minute, I'm having to think of threat level, what's fixing to happen, because they did, broski. They absolutely hated my guts. And I don't dislike anybody. But it was obvious that they measured me as I approached, one authority, white, old guy, whatever. And they never took their eyes off me. I mean, they looked at me like, we will take you out and not even think twice about it. So, you know, they didn't have any weapons or nothing, but they were big dudes. Let me tell you, every one of them was really big. Like, when I say big, I mean like over 6 foot. The leader was funny. He wasn't. The leader was not. He was shorter. But all the rest of the guys were, I mean, I'm 6'1", but everybody, there was a couple of them there that were like 6'2", maybe 6'3", one of them. They were big dudes. But the sign, I'm telling you, that recruitment sign, I mean, it was like signing up. It was basically, it had points. They have stolen our land. They have stolen this. They have taken this. And basically, let's build an army. I mean, that's what it was. And I'm like, so I didn't go up, and I knew they couldn't be there. I knew it. But I didn't approach it like that. I approached it with, do you have permission to be here? That's all I said. Because I have to know. Because that's my job. If you have permission, I'll walk away. We have no problem. But if you don't have permission, and they said, well, what if we don't? By the way, that one of the guys did. And the guy told him, he waved him off, because one of the guys was looking at me like said, well, what if we don't?
Yeah.
And the guy said, he said, just tell us what we got to do. I said, well, you got to go in and you got to get permit. You've got to be on the list. And I knew they already weren't. If you haven't done this online already, you go online, then I said, they will let you know that though. I said, but to answer your question, because I didn't avoid it. I said, to answer your question, I said, you'll have to leave. Boy, he didn't like that. He got him raised. It's literally what they believe. All people are devils. Well, they looked at me like that. I guarantee you they were all incarcerated at some point. I wouldn't doubt that, because that's where they build the army at to begin with, is inside the prisons and the local jails. Absolutely. But they were all 20-somethings. The leader might have been close to 30. But I'm telling you, dude, it looked like an army walking up there.
See, in a situation,
a small one, but an army nonetheless.
In a situation like that,
oh, I could bet, man. I bet
most guys have never been in a situation where they have to really be dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they might fantasize about it, but they've never been in that situation where they actually have to do something. If you don't know what to do, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
That's plain and simple. You've got to know how to eliminate these threats, and you do it with extreme prejudice. And I'm not talking about with guns. I'm not talking about with anything like that. But I'm talking about you hit people where they're not going to recover very quickly.
Well, there's, nose, knee smash, crotch.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, most people, unless they're really built, if they're like that wrestler guy we just looked at, that was a funny video. It'd be a gut punch, because that dude's sucking wind. If you punched him into the gut really hard, I'm believing it. An eye gouge will do it. I mean, because you get somebody in their eye. I mean, they're down for a minute. I mean, because that's very painful. But a nose smash, a knee smash, those are things you have to.
Nose will make your eyes water.
Yeah.
But if you really want to hit somebody in the throat, I mean, if you can't breathe, you're not going to do a whole lot.
So and that allows you to then move on to the next biggest threat,
right.
Whatever it is. And there's always that guy that has maybe a weapon in his hand, but he's backing up while he's acting like he's going to swing it. So he doesn't really want to do it.
Yeah.
He would if he gets an opportunity and they have you down, that he'll come in. That's the guy that will come in, and he'll hurt you. But it's because the others have got you held down where they can't do nothing. You can't hurt them.
Exactly.
But if you're up on your feet, he's probably moving backwards the whole time.
But if you strike with extreme fury,
oh yeah,
they're going to run. A lot of them will.
Yeah, I mean, you just go into almost like that rebel yell. I mean, you do. You go to a rage and you just go berserk, but with purpose.
Yeah.
You just berserk with purpose. I mean, you are moving and striking with intended. You've already, and then you work off of that how things progress, and you can do a lot of damage quickly. Even if they think they got you, you can be doing damage. Because even if they grab you, then there's things that you can grab and hurt, and and a lot of people, like you said, that are not really prepared for that. They're not ready to go to that kind of level. You can bite people. You can use your fingers.
There are no rules.
There are no rules. That's it. You use everything you can. You know, if you got a hold of a guy's head, you could smash it on the, into the car or something, or into the mirror or something like that. There's all kinds of things you can do. You could turn somebody, even if they had another guy, a weapon was swinging. You could turn the guy that's got hold of you, and you could like make them impale their own buddy. You know. Yeah, you're right. If you hesitate, you lose. You got to go, and you got to go with fury. That's right. You got to do that. But it's a sad state of affairs. But in America, we're getting to that point right now where people are being surrounded, and they're going with intent and purpose to catch you when you are alone, to do damage to you, to take what you have, to intimidate you, not only really rob you. I think it's just pure intimidation now. It's not even about what you got. It's just to take some people out.
Well, all I can say is you be careful.
Well, and to be a carry person. I mean, we've all got to become that. That's legally can. We've got to be someone who does, because that does, because they may have that as well. But at least you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. You're ready for whatever,
That's true.
Walter or whoever.
I've shown my wife how to take a gun away from somebody. She doesn't think I have shown her enough. And I don't want her to ever be in a situation like that.
But you would want her prepared if
I would. I would want her to know what to do, and I help her, understand certain things. When she's in, I help her figure out scenarios. If you're ever in this scenario, what would you do, and things of that. Because I do want her to be prepared, because I might not always be there.
Well, sure. I mean, you
got to think about that. I'm 61 years old. All right. I'm not a spring chicken anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I'm in good shape. I can hold my own pretty much. But it's the knowledge that I have from years of doing these things. I know where to hit people that are going to they're going down. Yeah. And in some cases, depending upon the situation, they might not get back up.
Well, some guys, they just think they can, and this is where skill or fighting with no rules or whatever. If you have a guy that he thinks just because he's built himself up in the gym and he is strong as an ox or whatever, maybe he's even athletic, but he has no idea of how to use all those things in a offensive way, that guy becomes, I mean, he's going to leave things exposed, because he's going to be almost roundhousing, he's just going to try to do it through brute strength. And you can I
guarantee you, you could take a 14-year-old that was well versed in the pugilistic arts, put it that way, or martial arts, any other, any type of fighting style, technique, whatever. Put them up against somebody like that, they'll take them down.
Yeah.
Unless they grab a hold of them. Now, if they get a hold of them, that's a different story. If they don't know how to get loose, then they could be in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just size. I mean, that's the way it is. You don't run up and grab a hold of somebody that's twice your size.
Because I mean, they've got leverage then. I mean, they've got
exactly.
They're bigger than you, Mm-hmm. So
hey, nuts are good.
I like Broski's thought this out a little bit. I love it. You might not be able to reach his throat, but you can always reach the other.
That's it.
He may have no neck. That's true as well. I mean, some guys are it's like their heads attached to their shoulders, Put your
you hit, I don't care who you are. You get hit in the nose, your eyes water.
Ears is a great place. I mean, you can get a hold of that ear. You can that's tender.
Dude, you can grab a finger. There are so many different things that you can do. I mean, that are going. Some pain, some people can't tolerate pain. Some people can tolerate it really well.
Yeah.
Now, you get a hold of one of those people that can tolerate pain, you're in for a long day.
Well, and if you're in close, you could headbutt somebody and smash that nose or whatever, or if their chin or their teeth or whatever, they're going to back off, dude. You hit them hard enough, it'll daze them. I mean,
You can.
hey, my kiddo, when they were little kids at a certain age, you're holding them, you got to watch because they learn to do that.
Yep.
And they will rock your world as a 1-year-old. They will about knock you out. You got to be careful because they learn how to headbutt.
My dad used to tell this story when I think I was 2. We were at a neighbor's house and I wanted something, and my dad picked me up and was telling me no. And I punched him right in the nose, busted his nose.
Yeah.
But apparently I got a butt whipping pretty good for it too. But
When my dad was in the Army, he said he saw a really good fight in the barracks one day, and it was a really big guy and a smaller guy.
mm-hmm.
And this bigger guy, I don't know what started it, but anyway, they locked up. And my dad thought this big guy's going to hurt that guy. Well, this other guy was, Dad didn't know it at the time, but this other guy was a professionally trained boxer. And he was at the perfect height to do exactly what Broski said. He wore his midsection out. So this guy's trying to hit down at him. He can't really get a direct hit because he's so tall. This guy's so short. He is wearing out his gut and his groin and everything else. And he took him out. He took that guy out.
I bet. You put somebody's gonads in their throat, you know, that's a lot of pain.
Open palm to the nose or to someone's solar plex. On a movie, Charlotte had a couple of incidents. I sent Snoop Dogg flying through the air when I touched him with the solar plex. Take that.
Solar plex is a bad place to be hit. A lot of people don't know where it's at.
Or you can be
Yeah,
like
right there.
Charles Bronson in Death Wish, where he learns to roll up, put the coins in the, wasn't it coins or something he put in the sock? That was the first weapon he like improvised. And he learned that would be a pretty mean weapon to just hit somebody with.
You can take a roll of quarters and just put it in your hand, and it increases your punch, you know, because your fingers don't give.
Yeah.
Anything you can hold in your hand helps you with your punch.
Dude's like, I'm going to crush you. Bam.
But see, you know, there's a lot of people, if you don't know how to punch somebody, you're going to break your wrist. You know, if you try to punch them full, you know, as hard as you can.
Now,
You
there
gotta
is
know
an
these
exception
things.
here, and you said some people can take pain. Somebody that's hopped up on drugs sometimes does not feel that pain sensor or something, man. And they can keep going even after bullets have been put into them, and they're bleeding out. I mean, bad. I mean, they should be laying on the ground. There's been superhuman stuff that's happened with people on PCP and stuff like that, where it's taken multiple hits to slow and stop people like that. It don't last forever, but in a few moments, a guy can do damage to you. So you gotta neutralize the threat. Meaning you've got to continue to do what you got to do until that person is down.
I've seen people get hit with tasers, not even phasers.
Just pull it out, like
Yeah.
yeah, whatever, man.
Yep.
I'm tall, 6'3", but I've gotten into fights with guys who are 6'7", 6'9". Snoop was around 6'6", but he still went flying.
I've never been a tall guy. I'm 6 foot. But, you know, size isn't everything. There's an old saying, it's not the size of a man in a fight, it's the size of the fight in a man.
What if a guy pulled out the nunchucks on you?
9 out of 10 times I take them away from him. See, you can't be afraid to get hit.
Yeah, I've seen guys, and they're not even really good at them, but they think they're bad. And they've seen these videos on like TikTok and stuff, and they're like, while they're doing it, they're like, "I will take you out," and they're cussing, and "Come on down to West Virginia, and I'm gonna, beat your head in." And they're not even good, but they think they are. But yeah, you're right. You gotta take the hit, but you can take it away from them.
These guys, there was this one kid, he had like a rainbow tattoo on his face, and he had gold in his teeth. He said, "I'm breaking your house. What are you gonna do?" Brother, you don't want to know what I'm gonna do. It'll be the last house you ever break into.
There's also, you can use another method that will get you time. If you act crazy, full on mentally crazy, A lot of people don't want to mess with that, even bad dudes. I mean, if you could go into like a really talk like you're cray cray, slobbering at the mouth and stuff, that freaks a lot of people out, dude. I mean, they will back up. There's a lot of things you can do like that that will stun them. And most people, I find this, you tell me if I'm wrong or not, I found that most people will hesitate in a given situation. They freeze during emergency shootings, whatever it is.
Mhm.
Some people go into action. There's a big, huge part of the populace, they freeze. They're stopping, their brain hasn't caught up with what's going on yet. And they're vulnerable because they don't move. So being able to be a person that doesn't hesitate, and I think you're a person like that, you just go, will give you an advantage when something like that goes down, because other people are just going to stand there like, what? What's going on?
True. And you want to know somebody's true character, put them in a life or death situation.
100%, I want people ready for action and won't hesitate on my side. I don't care about how big they are. Well, true. You want people that you got on your six that you know are really got you back. You know, you want that team around you that's going in, that is going all in immediately. You just know that. Sometimes you find out about a person, you think that they're really all that, and they're not. And and I told you about the friend of mine, which he used to be a friend. He says we're not friends anymore. I let him down as a friend, and I guess he just never wants to talk to me again. But he does follow me still, so he may see these. I don't know. I still love him, But I remember one time, and I told you this, where we were off the same club. I left early. In the parking lot, there was some brouhaha starting with friends of his. He got punched in the back of the head and went down, and he was getting boot kicked and everything else. His buddies rented the car and took off. And then they came back later when the threat was over and helped him. He defended those guys. I said those guys were scum. I said those were not friends. I said, drop those bums today. We got a big disagreement about this. I said, those guys left you. They started the fight, but they fled the fight, and they left you to go down. Why are you defending them? I said, brother, I'm telling you, I don't know what how much good my defense would have been, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not running. I've never been that type of person to run. If it's on, it's on.
Yeah.
And that's what I told that guy in Atlanta that day that covered us, and he was threatening us when he's coming off his property. And I told him, I said, I will not run. I will walk. Yeah. And he backed off. He was still screaming threats, but he backed off. And I let him know, I'm not running, dude. It's your property. I'm walking off, but you're not running me. And there's just a mode you go in, man. Some people can do that, and some people can't. And I'm not saying I'm bad. I don't say I'm a fighter. But I'm telling you this: I'm country stubborn.
Yeah.
And I'm just not going to be done that way. And I backed a guy off at work one time. He was inner city. I heard later he was a gang member. Well, I don't know if I've told you this one. I may have. You tell me how. I think you could handle it a lot the way. In fact, you might have done more. I went to work for a tourism spot in Chattanooga. I was maybe 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I got hired in through a friend, got me on, and I started out in the laundry area. Then I progressed and got into the conventions, the setups. So I got to meet, and do all that stuff. It was a pretty cool job.
Right.
But I started out in laundry. Basically, you're taking the stuff out of the hotel, all the dirty stuff, and you're bringing back the clean all day long. Right. That's what you're doing. We had other guys that loaded the machines and women and cleaned the rooms and all that stuff. The guy that loaded the machines, he later became a police officer. He was really built, and he was third highest scoring in basketball one year in Chattanooga. Really nice guy. This other guy came to work there, was kind of new, a tall guy. He was probably 6 foot. He was an easy 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". Well, right. We came off of a break, and I went to grab my laundry cart, and the guy comes and grabs it, and he says, "This ain't your cart, it's mine." And I held on to it. And he said, "Let go." And I said, "I'm not letting go." And he said, "I'll cut you, man." I said, "Then you better get to cutting."
Yeah. Because
you're not getting this cart. And he cursed me, and he throwed it to the side, but he walked away. And the other guy come up and he goes, "Hey, Dave, he said, I'm telling you, that guy is a gang member, man." I said, he's not lying. He will stab you. I know this guy. He's a bad dude. He said, "Just let him have it." And I said, "Dude, I wasn't raised that way." I said, my dad told me if you walk away, you'll always be walking away.
Exactly.
And I said, he said, but man, it's not worth dying over. I said, you know what? I said, I think there is sometimes. Not that I want to die, but a principle is worth standing on.
Yeah.
And if it's not worth standing on, then you got nothing. And I'm just not going to be pushed around like that. And I go into a mode, man. And, you know, I didn't like that it happened. It bothered me that it happened because I like to get along with people.
Yeah.
But in that moment, I meant it. I would give him everything I had to defend, yes, a laundry cart, because it wasn't the laundry cart. This was him.
The principle of the matter.
It's the principle. And he said, "You're crazy, man." And I said, "No." My daddy told me there were times if you can walk away from a fight, do it. De-escalate it, walk away. He said, "But if you're in that, if it's a moment where you got to fight, you give it everything you got, son, and don't you ever walk away. Because if you do, you'll be running your whole life." And he's right. He was right. He's dead now. But I've done that. I had to do that 2 or 3 times in my life where people have threatened me with violence, and that was each time that was what I said. Then you better let's get it on because I've got work to do. Let's go.
I remember when the same school that I told you about where I had the car incident up in Indiana.
I don't provoke, Brusky. I'm just saying that.
No.
In the moment, if I'm forced into it, I'm just not backing off. I don't provoke though.
No. But I don't back down.
Well, and I don't go to cities, so.
Yeah. But anyway, my first day of school at this place, you know, like I said, I used to dress really preppy looking. You know, I wore, you know, your Ralph Lauren and the Izods and all. You know, it was just a preppy look. I thought it was comfortable. That's the reason why I dressed that way. I go walking up to the front of the school, and there's 2 guys with their leather jackets, you know, outside smoking. And they thought, you know, here's this guy. He looks a certain way. He's going to be a pushover. What? Anyway, they stopped me and tell me to give them my money and this, that, and the other. And I said, dude, y'all need to just go on. You don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And I left both of them laying right there in front of the school, bleeding. And I walked on in and went to the office and, you know, got my schedule, you know, and all that stuff. And as I come walking out of the office, the vice principal comes walking up to me and he says, "Did you meet a couple of guys out front on your way in?" I said, "We didn't really meet." I said, "We had a few words and stuff, but he said, well, I think you hurt one of them pretty bad. Probably going to need some stitches." I said, well, he should have kept his mouth shut. But that was how all that started. And, you know, I've been the new guy, you know, at a lot of different places, and you have to learn how to defend yourself.
Yeah.
Fortunately, I started at a young age, you know, learning how to defend myself because I had red hair growing up and I was mean as a rattlesnake anyway. But, yeah, there were just, I was kind of like a perfect storm. There were a lot of things that converged all, you know,
Sure.
together, you know, molestation, you know, all these things, you know, that happen. But, yeah, I had a lot of rage in me for many, many years until God took it away.
When I went to junior high, the first group, it was right ahead of me. They were a rough group.
Yeah.
First day of school, it was pretty bad. I watched them just torment kids. I mean, it was a bunch of kids whose parents were probably in and out of jail, and they were headed there themselves.
Right.
In fact, before the year was out, most of them were out of the school. They were kicked out of the school in suspension, all this stuff. Some of them in juvie. It was the first time I ever seen kids get in trouble with drugs and stuff. And they were bad kids, but I was able to navigate that, you know, because I've also got common sense. I know how to, know how to remove myself from situations,
Right.
Make myself not the target and all that. So I just naturally had that skill. Even as a shy person, I was able to do that. And, but they were a rough group. But I remember the first day of school, they took this preppy kid's shoes off.
Right.
And they tied them together and they threw them up on a tree. Like the first day of school, he's like his new
Hung
shoes.
his shoes in a tree.
I was like, these are the guys. They walked in with nothing. They would reach over the guy next to them and just grab their paper or their pencil and just, they didn't bring nothing, no supplies, no nothing. They just took it from others. But before the year, one of them got, this is, we got to remember this is 70s. So one of them got busted for Quaaludes. I mean, it was a rough group, man.
Yep.
But there was a lady pulled up in a Volkswagen once, and she went in the office, and they picked her car up and placed it between two trees so she couldn't pull off. And you imagine coming out of the office, your car is now moved, and it's sitting between two trees.
Wow.
No possible way to move it. She's sitting there like, oh, my gosh, what am I going to do? So, but they did go and get it out for her. They decided to give her grace, but they went and picked it up and moved it back. This is junior high school, dude.
Yeah. Things were a lot different, back in our day than they are now. Well, God bless you, broski.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I never had to get physical. There were when I was on patrol and I was by myself, there was a couple of times I thought I was going to be forced into it. But we were trained to always use the vehicle as a defensive weapon. So if you're in your vehicle and you're locked and you can move it, you're most likely not going to get hurt. But sometimes when you're checking doors and stuff, you run up on people, and it spooks them, spooks you, and they may be on dope, they may be gang,
and if they're armed, it can be a very dangerous.
So there were a couple of times I scared some gangbangers one night. I was checking doors at Notre Dame High School, and they were doing donuts back there, and I didn't know it when they came out. Yeah, they saw my lights, and it spooked them, and they screamed out of there, man. They slung rocks all over me, the building. But then they scared me because I didn't know they were there. They come around the corner. You couldn't hear the car coming. It was crazy. And I was at least 40 feet away from my car. So no way I'd make it in time. So I was like, oh, man. And having to go up and check on cars on a parking lot. I had little maneuvers I did to make that. Usually I get people to leave without having to do it. Because I'd never wanted to walk up on a car that had all dark windows and be trying to see who's in there.
Yeah.
So usually I'd make a lot of noise, and then I would pull the car away or truck, whatever I was driving. I'd flip the lights on and fake like I'm calling in something, and they would usually leave. You just got to learn little tools of the trade like that. One night I saw a guy drunk in the back of a car, and I thought it might be trouble. Just so happened that the athletic director for the high school pulls up. And I went around there, and he was saying, hey, how you doing? And he introduced himself, and I said, would you mind helping me? I said, we got a guy back here in the truck asleep. I'll handle it. I won't back up. He said, absolutely. That athlete come out at him. He said, let's go. And the guy he came to watch the game and just sat in his truck and got drunk. But he had slept a lot of it off, and he got back in. He got up and left. But I thanked the guy, and the guy goes, no, man, I love seeing you guys. That's what we want. We want to see people got out of here, and I am more. Dude, here's my number. Call me if you ever have something that you need help with, because I'm athletic director. It was pretty cool. But there was the one that got me was a guy. He was obviously very high on dope. He was a huge guy. I mean, built, big guy. And when I first started telling him he had to leave, I found him asleep laying in a parking deck. And I woke him up, and he was on his knees. He kind of got up, and he's looking at me with a crazy look. He starts punching himself in his own face. Well, at that point, I realized I'm dealing with cray.
Yeah.
And so I gave him a quick scenario of what was going to happen. And I said, it's up to you, and I'm pulling off. I'm going to give you 2 minutes because I can't stay here forever. So the scenario was stay and go to jail.
Yeah.
Or I know it's raining right now, but there's an overhang up front. You can't stay here, but if you go up there, you'll be good for a while. And just walk away, man. And I went away, and he looked like he was ready to storm me, man. Like, I'll kill you, because he gave me that look. And it's like he thought about it for a second. As I was getting ready to pull off, he just got up and started walking that way. But that day, I thought I was going to have to engage him. Well, yes, there is a Notre Dame high school in the city.
Yeah.
Well, that's Chattanooga. I live in Georgia. That's Tennessee.
Yep.
They always had a great basketball team, Notre Dame.
Yep.
I've been all in that school. I went up there one day, and there was and I hated to be that guy. It was one of those, I was like, doggone it. Don't you just hate? Sometimes you got to do your job. I mean, you do. And I went up there, and they were a bunch of them playing on the football field. Like they're playing football game, football game.
Yeah.
And so I go up there, and so I just said, hey, guys, y'all got permission to be here? They said, yeah, coach. And they made up a name. I knew it. He told us we could be here. And I said, really? I said, well, I'm going to have to call him and verify this. and they realized it was up, and they started leaving. They said, "No, we'll leave."
Yeah.
Because I didn't even know. By the way, I didn't even know who the coach was, and I didn't have his number at that time. I just threw it right back at them. They said, "Oh, no, don't do that. We're leaving." But I hated to do it because they were being good. But
Right.
you got to do what you got to do. I was told, you got to get people off the property. So yeah, Notre Dame was always good in basketball. They had their gym was pretty nice, and it was nice. I would go up there, and there'd be the football games or basketball games going on. I saw their basketball team.
Hey, they had a pretty good cheerleading squad too.
Were you on that squad?
No.
I know. I get what you're saying. I'm just messing with you,
Yeah.
But yeah, it's cool, man. Well, hey, it's 1:05, hour 5, and we usually go about an hour.
Wow.
We'll probably be back with something in a minute. But great discussion. I love this discussion. It was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah.
I try to just dive into areas
And by the way, I want to tell everybody I am not that man anymore. I don't go out looking for trouble. I don't do all that stuff. But I am not going to just walk away.
However, if you will look at our social media sites, you will be able to watch the Biscuit Boy Chronicles. The Biscuit Boy Chronicles, we clip these and we talk about the old man, the Paul of long ago.
Yeah.
Or just things he has to say that's like that. So
Biscuit
Boy Chronicles.
I praise God every day that I'm not that man. I don't ever want to see that man. I don't want my wife to ever meet that man.
Yeah.
But, there are times when you can feel the flesh rising, especially
I was saying
certain people make me mad.
Let me throw, and we'll just clip these because
all right.
If let me give you some quick scenarios, and you just give me like quick answers. Like somebody walks up to you. Again, it's all gonna be somebody walks up to you, and and it's you and your wife or just you alone. Somebody walks up to you and they spit in your face. What do you do?
I will knock them out completely.
Okay, clip that. I agree. I mean, who's going to take that? The spit in the face,
I won't.
What if they walk up to you and they just curse you? They start cursing you.
I'll start laughing at them most of the time.
They walk up to you and your wife and they call your wife a horrible name.
That's not a good thing to do. I'll just say that. I am very protective of my wife, and wouldn't be a good thing. Even though it's just words, I agree. I would turn physical more than likely.
Yeah, I would too. What if you and Howie are out and they walk up and they kick your dog?
That would even no.
These are pretty loaded, but
they would have a broken leg. You don't do that. It's not a smart thing to do.
So if they walk up to you and they ask you if you're a Christian.
So yes, I am.
And they say, after you say that, I hate Christians. What do you do?
Well, I love you.
Amen. Amen.
I mean, that's what can you do? I've noticed, when some people get in a group, they get more boisterous and they get, they feel like there's strength in numbers, this, that, and the other. And you would have some people do some stupid things.
Yeah. Because you were talking about how we get in our flesh. I mean, these are things where you just go. I mean, I call it going Mach 10. I mean, like it's fully on DEFCON 5 or whatever. You would just go into a mode at that point.
If you ever see my eyes start watering, run. Because they're not watering because I'm scared. They're watering because I already regret what I'm about to do.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you're gonna, and this kills me with some people, they talk about, I ain't ever lost a fight. Blah, 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 blah. Well, then you ain't ever been in any. If you ain't ever lost one, you've
Yeah,
never
I mean,
been
you
in
can
it.
always. I mean, there's.
But the thing
things
is,
that happen.
there's always somebody better than you out there.
Yeah.
The problem with me is if you whip my butt, you better be ready to whip it every single time you see me, because it's coming. And that's just the way I am. I don't care where we're at. If we're in church, if I'll put it this way, I carry a grudge for a long time. There was a guy shot at me one time, and I told him if I ever saw him again that he would regret it. And I don't think he was trying to hit me, but he shot at me.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times. And it was about 15 years later. I go to this particular place. I'm not going to say where, but anyway, I open the door. He's standing there. I didn't even say anything to him.
Yeah.
I put him on his back. I don't forget. And you know, if that's one thing. If I ever tell somebody, you know, that I'm going to do this, or this, please believe me.
Yeah. Amen.
Because I'm not.
You gotta be smart enough to realize the intent of someone, if they mean it or not.
Yeah.
So
I'm one of the most loving people you'll ever meet in your life. You know, and
you're one of my best friends. I mean, you know, and
you know,
I've known you for over 30 years, I think, and
yeah,
you know.
And I don't want to ever be. I don't ever want to be that way. You know, you were talking about earlier walking away from a fight. That's the smart thing to do. Not just walk, run. Get as far away from it as you can.
Yeah.
Nothing good ever comes out of it. I mean, all it does is make your flesh rise up and your pride. You know, if you lose, your pride's hurt. If you win, your head's too big, you know. It doesn't do anybody any good. Physical violence really never solves a whole lot, but, you know, sometimes there are those people that don't know anything else.
Yeah. I don't think he does.
I've met him, but I don't know him.
He said he's met him. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I love the discussion, though. I really,
I
do because
but I think
we will further it out. I like for us to just travel these roads on our morning show. We just kind of go at some different things. We never pre-plan this show for sure.
Ever.
And we always find some things to talk about that are pretty interesting. So I just think that's pretty cool, man. You know, and we get some seriousness out of it. We get some laughs out of it. And that's what's great about when we come together. So
never a dull moment, you know.
Is Apoff, if he walked up and said, "I will kill you," you're just gonna laugh, right? You're gonna say, "Apoff, come on, man." I love that boy, but we've got to get him trained up.
Yeah. I want to tell you what, I work out with some big boys. I mean, some big boys. There's one fellow that I want to have on the show. He is, I think Saul's 6'9", 6'10", somewhere around in there, about 400 pounds.
He would cut his fingernail. He would say, "I broke my nail."
You know, there's some people that gripe if you hung them with a new rope, you know.
Oh.
But anyway.
Well, one last thing is this, and I know we're going to go, but can silence be used in an effective offensive way to freak people? Can you use silence and a stare, or do you just full on action? Do you? Because I'm not talking about hesitating. I'm talking about making people wonder what your next move is and intimidation through that. Because talking, sometimes you'll not say a word, just a stare. Mm-hmm. That can be effective, right? A stare.
Oh, I've done it, yeah.
I mean, the look that you give somebody will make a lot of people think twice about taking another step.
Yeah, and when you look at them and smile.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
Have you ever been on an elevator and people get on that try to intimidate you?
I don't know about that.
I have.
Really?
Yeah. And I found it very interesting They got off at the next floor. Because when somebody does something like that, I just like messing with people, I guess, too much. I'll walk right up to them and get in their face. And I won't say a word. Like you said, I won't say a word. I just stand there and stare at them. And it makes people uncomfortable. I mean, it really does, you know.
So you're talking about in their personal space. Like you're like
in their bubble.
Face to face.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. At that point, you're either going to fight or flight. You're not going. That's no.
Well, you'll find out what their intentions are really quick.
Because if they, it's like that. What is that? I know it was a movie, but it was a great point. It's the Rocky movie where Mr. T's in it, and the first fight, Mr. T is looking at him like I'm going to destroy you, and he's not really into it. He don't have that look. Yep. But by the second fight, he is staring at him like, "Let's go
for it."
Yeah, go for it. You see, I love that because that is exactly what I'm talking about. It's like if it messed with him in the movie, but it's like he didn't know how to take that. Like it didn't. He was not intimidated. He's like, wait a minute, I'm gonna bust you up. Go for it. I mean, at that point, I mean, they got to make a decision because I think that look in that little phrase can be effective.
See, there are people that go through their life that nobody's ever bucked them. I mean, they've always been the intimidator.
Oh yeah.
And then when somebody does, they don't know how to react. And I love being the disruptor.
When I worked at a restaurant, I was 17, and it was the lady was her husband died. She basically inherited the business. She was hard to work for, but she was successful. Her boy was a punk. He'd been spoiled by her.
Right.
He was 16 years old, and he walked in on the job. And I worked with a guy who just came out of the Marines, and he was actually on the ship. He was not on Lebanon yet. It's when all the Marines got killed. He was on the ship as the next group to go in. So he talked to me about that. But anyway, we're back there, and he's washing dishes. I'm bussing tables and making stuff. We had to do combo jobs and stuff. But anyway, this guy come in. He's stoned out of his mind. She'd bought him a gold Trans Am. He comes in. He was always bragging about the money he had because he got a check off his dad. She gave him money. Anyway, he comes in one night. He's stoned out of his mind, and he says, "I'm glad I don't have to work like you peasants. I won't never have to get my hands dirty. You losers and stuff like that." So the guy that I was, and actually that guy's who introduced me to Lynn, by the way, the Marine, the guy the Marine. He's the guy that introduced me to Lynn, my wife.
Cool.
And he said, "Dave," he said, "would you take care of my light work? Because I'm afraid if I turn around," he said, "I'll hurt that boy. I'll hurt him." So I went up to him and I said, "Dude," I said, we're here to do a job." And I said, "I don't care whose kid you are." I said, you get out of here right now.
Right.
And I said, this is what I'm going to do for you because I know you're young and stupid. I said, I'm going to go bust. And I said, and I need the job, but I don't want to hurt my family. But I said, this is my deal. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go out and bust some tables because it was a busy Friday night or Saturday night. I said, when I come back, if you're not gone, it's on. I've had enough. And so I said, that's the chance you get. So I went out and I went to his mother first. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I'm an employee here. We're all employees here that work for you. I said, I don't care who your boy is. I said, he has no right to be in our work area talking the way he's talking to us. And I said, I'm telling you, I'm giving you fair warning. I don't want to lose my job, but I'm telling you, if he's there when I get back, me and I forget the other guy's name, Tony or whatever, I can't remember his name.
We're going to hurt him.
He is going to get hurt. And I said, you need to know that. And I said, it's up to you what happens next. And I went and I bust tables. When I got back, he was gone. And my buddy was laughing. He's like, Dave. He said, what? Yeah, what did you do? Yeah. He said, man, he said, she come back here, grabbed him up by the ear and threw him out the back door and said, don't come back tonight.
Wow.
Said the kid was whining, Mom, what are you doing? Because he wasn't bad. He thought he was, Mom, what are you doing? And throw him out of the thing. And he's like, Dave, that was awesome, man. He goes, because I'm telling you, I was going to lose my job. He said, well, I said, I was too. I said, I was going to punch him, man. I was had enough. His mouth. I mean, who can sit there doing a job and you got some little he was a minor too. He was 16. I don't care. And I was, I was probably, well, I was 17. I don't think I was 18. I was 17. But I was going to clock him, man. I'd had enough. It was a little fun. What's funny, though, later we all became friends. It was like after that, we actually became kind of friends. And his mom didn't know it, but around the side, we'll just say we were enjoying some herbs. I guess I could say it that way. Because the old boy could. I did embarrass her one day. I went back and she had me clean the storeroom. I found an old baggie of his. This stuff was so old, it was like powder. Oh, wow. It was like an ounce bag, man.
Wow.
And I brought it I act like I didn't know what it was. And I picked the baggie up, or the bag it was in. I brought it up in front of everybody. I said, hey, I found this in the storeroom, kind of like stored like it was hid. What do you want me to do with it? And everybody went, oh, dude, and she's all embarrassed.
I'll take it.
The dust goes flying everywhere, Wow. She's, give me that. She knew what it was.
Wow.
Brusky says, I check people all the time getting off elevators. It's been a trend post-COVID that people try to get on the elevator before people have gotten off. I've shoulder checked with. Nice try, Karen. I love it.
Hey, I saw this video. This Karen comes up to there's I forget what's going. Anyway, she stops in the middle of the road, gets out of her car, goes to the driver's side of this car that's behind her, and just starts running her mouth, trying to open the door, this, that, and the other. Well, there's a woman driving. There's a kid, looked like to be a teenager. He gets out of the passenger side and walks around. Well, the Karen comes up and starts going at him, and he turns to walk off, and she just slaps him right in the side of the head. Oh, dude, he turned around, grabbed her, and body slammed her on her back right in the middle of the street and left her laying there. I love seeing stuff like that.
I do too. I saw these.
You don't hit somebody unless you.
These things keep popping in my head, but a couple more. Like you pull up. Like I saw one the other day where a guy's trying to get his wife to the labor and delivery, that she's having a baby, and you got the freaks that are blocking the road, and they're sitting down trying to block the road. And this guy's getting up, man. He is slinging them out of the way. Dude, I'm having no mercy in a case like that. I don't care who they are. I don't care what their cause is. If you're in between me getting to my job or getting to emergency help or health care or whatever it is, dude, I'm knocking you out. I'm telling you right now. You're moving. If the car's going to move you or something's going to move, I'm not going to sit there. And I'm just not. I'm one of those guys. I'm not going to do it.
It would have been drug all the way to the hospital. I mean,
can you imagine? Your wife's in labor, and you're trying to get her there, and these freaks sitting there going, "We want peace. We want
You're about to get a piece."
It's like, dude, it's over.
I've been they've been very fortunate that they've not done anything like that here in the South.
Hey, did you see the one in Kentucky where they blocked, I guess it's a highway or interstate, might have been interstate, and they pulled some sort of cord across the road, and this dude just hits it with like a pickup truck, hits it, and that thing stretched out and popped back and took out one of them, man. Girl's laying on the ground. It hurt her, man. Has no idea what she's doing, but they put some sort of cord across the road at a bridge and like tied it off to the bridge sides, thinking they're going to stop traffic. No, dude says, no, I'm going through. He's in like an old beater, man, like a pickup truck. Yep. He don't care. He just stretched that thing out. Pow. Came flying back, man.
Well.
It took her out.
Well. Listen, folks, we got to get off here. We've been on, almost an hour and a half now.
We're rocking it. Thanks for
We're coming back, though. We'll be back for something else.
By the way, the QR code at the top of the screen, that is our Substack. Follow that now. There will be some exclusive programming you will want to join later on, and go ahead and get set up. Because
subscribe for free.
Before we go to Linktree, we're going to do did you see that, Dustin? Was that not the coolest thing? I was like, yes. I love that. I absolutely love that. You know what? Don't do stupid things and nothing stupid will happen. You know what I mean?
Well, the old saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
All right, folks. We'll be back in a few. Take care.
Peace.
Salute. Paul, good. I enjoyed the show. Thanks for always being here. And I think that you deserve an applause.
They agree.
More than you deserve this.
Oh, I thought it was going to be a toilet flush.
No, I wouldn't do that. Paul's the kind of guy that makes them do this.
Yeah. I love it. We got to start utilizing some of these sounds, man.
If you're done, you got to be tough. Have a great day all. God bless you, man. Thanks for being here. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
We'll see you. We'll see you in the bye.
Out on the airwaves, mud soaked and loud. Cornbread man talking, biscuit boy proud. Static crackles like a rattlesnake's tail. Voices rolling like a freight train wheel. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, talking live love and southern joy. Cornbread man, biscuit boy, raise your glass, make some noise. Gravy drips in the southern drawl. Stories thick like the cypress tall. Radio rebels riding wild and free, shouting truths like a storm at sea.